We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
And now, Reality Rants with Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here. And today, I'm just asking questions about NASA, SpaceX, missions to moon, or missions to the moon, and going to Mars. Because if you've been following this broadcast, then you know that I take a very different position than I think the extremes, in my opinion, on both sides. And what are the extremes, in my opinion, in both sides? Well, there's the one extreme where you have the general public and they really don't think much about NASA, and they believe that NASA overall is simply this quote-unquote space agency that's trying to take us to places like the moon and Mars, and that's the big baseline. And they believe everything they put out there. Now, I'm not in that camp, obviously. Now, the other extreme camp, in my opinion, are the ones that think everything, quote-unquote, space-related is totally and completely fake, that somehow, some way, we live in some type of, quote-unquote, dome or firmament, that the planet is not spherical, that we have never, ever, ever sent human beings into quote-unquote space, and we're going to get into the levels of the stratosphere, the atmosphere, the thermosphere, the exosphere, what that means, because I really want to break that down, all right? And I think there is some debate, obviously, on how far human beings have been above Earth, and certainly debate amongst the Apollo missions, okay? And I would even argue, due to my, utter ignorance and lack of ability to figure out a way to measure it for myself, how far away something like the moon is, okay? But we always go by their own numbers, go by their own standards. We got a few videos that we're also going to watch today because we got some things coming up that we're going to cover. I think the ISS exists. Now, do I believe that they have faked things on the ISS? Yes. Every time I see somebody in my comments, they assume that I haven't seen every single video out there for the argument that everything in space is fake, or they assume I haven't seen every single video out there purporting a flat earth and an ice wall. Let me assure you, I've seen every single one of them. Every one. It's been a long time since there's been anything out there that's new. And I'm going to also address that because there's ample opportunity out there. NASA has a YouTube that's live streaming from the ISS right now. Now, there are people that believe that's 100% CGI. Okay? I'm not one of them. Do I think that they faked live feeds before? Sure. 100%. And I'm willing to have that debate. All right? I just happen to be a guy that not only goes by the white papers that he's followed for decade upon decade, but, you know, if I reached over there right now, and let's do it. While I do that, thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Let's see what we got here. What do we got here? Just grab a couple random ones. I've got more. All right? You know, this is my kind of shopping. $1.99, 50 years of exploration. Multi DVD set. Now, yeah, this is put out internally by them, but we're talking about hours upon hours of not only footage. We got two more over here. Oh, this one's falling out. Probably the last one I watched. I got another series just like this. Okay? I don't believe that everything that I just showed you is, especially the stuff that's older, that goes into the 70s and the 80s, stuff with John Glenn. I think they're doing stuff up there. But I think a lot of it is obviously experiments that go well beyond. And by the way, here's another one right there. Just crack that bad boy open. Is this one only a 2-discer? This one looks like it's only a 2-discer. It's been a cover for weapon systems, bio-nano experimentation, automation. It's been a partner with DARPA information systems, black budgets, all while kind of selling you on the idea we're going to the like astronauts are like a sci-fi thing. It's all about space exploration. When in fact, NASA big time pushes the climate change agenda. You know, today, I might have to do that live because that just upset me so much. The spraying in the Quad Cities that people want to tell me are condensation trails today were so much that it angered me. It angered me. I don't. Maybe we'll save that for a video tomorrow. Okay. So we're about to go down the line. We're going to go through a bunch of recent news stories. We're going to play some videos. I can't do this without you guys. Thumbs it up, subscribe, share. Please get out there. Go check out the alts. Follow me on X at Jason Bermas. A ton of the stuff that, I don't get to cover here is covered there. And please consider supporting the broadcast. $5, $10, $15. Big donors. Could not do it without you. Let's thank some people right now. Mike, KCG, thank you so much. Jamma, someone, Rebecca, thank you, all supporting the broadcast. Let's get into it. So let's just look at the layers of atmosphere, okay? And I think that this is key. It's just a baseline for what are they telling us that's truthful and what are we being told that's total Johnny nonsense, okay? So first of all, you have the thermosphere, okay, right here, okay? I want you to take a good look. It's the Big Daddy up on the top, okay? Or I'm sorry, not the top. That's the exosphere. This is the thermosphere. Under it, okay, is the stratosphere, the troposphere, and the neosphere. Okay, the neosphere is what's directly under, the mesosphere. It's right underneath. Here you go. Take a look. It goes troposphere. That goes about 11, 12 miles above the Earth. The stratosphere, okay, extends 4 to 12. All right, and about 31 miles max, right? Okay, so it gets to about 31 miles. Okay, so the mesosphere is between 31 miles and 53 miles. There's big changes there in just 53 miles. Okay? So let's get up here. And you notice there's a big space right here that they say is the thermosphere. You notice that they have the space shuttle there, and we'll get into that. All right? Now, the thermosphere is between 53 and 375 miles. Now, that's really where we're going to take a pause before we get to the exosphere, okay? And I think that's why it's extremely important. Later on, we're going to show you a video of William Shatner after his trip into space via Blue Origin, which is, again, barely up there. Barely up there. In fact, we'll look up exactly how high it went, but like up, down, not really anything more than, a mission where you're going to go away from the planet. And I want you to listen to what he has to say about that. That's why we're going to play it, because he brought to tears by it. And I think it's worth noting, quote unquote, space is a dark and dangerous and cold place. Just want to throw that out there. Very dangerous. Now, they sell you, like William Shatner's the guy, right? He's Captain Kirk. They sold you on this image. So now, with, missions like that one, okay, we got this one coming up. It's going to be an all-woman cast, all right, on Blue Origin, and Katy Perry's going to be part of it. So it's just women, and they're basically just going to do that same thing, uppity, downsity. Uppity, downsity. It's not a real mission. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to leave. In reality, they're not even in spacesuits, right? They're in like track suits. And that's another thing. I mean, we can talk about the radiation levels. We can talk about the fact that we don't really know what space is beyond a certain point because we barely know what surrounds our planet. Again, NASA, although I believe they're lying and probably have known about this for a long time, just said they discovered in August, remember, electromagnetic field and force as important as gravity. And by the way, we talked about those extremes. I also do believe in gravity. Okay, not just density or buoyancy. Again, watched all the videos, heard all the arguments. Just want to make that very clear for the comment section. Now, I continue to talk about this. It is cartoon level to think that we are going to the moon. Forget about Mars. To the moon. They've promised us time and 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 time again that we're going back to the moon. Okay? No. Supposed to have already happened last year. Now they're pushing it to mid-2027. The last art, now they told us they actually went this far. And again, let's go to these numbers really quick. So 375 miles to 6,200 miles is the exosphere. That's up here. You know how far beyond the quote-unquote exosphere, which they tell us almost nothing about, is? It's roughly 250,000 miles away and then back. 500,000. That is so far beyond what has been demonstrated by rocket technology with human beings. All right, and we'll debate on whether or not it's been demonstrated without human beings because, we're talking well beyond that with NASA missions. And I do believe that they are building this equipment, right? The Mars probe, Jupiter, etc. Okay, we're going to play those videos. But that's actually a really good starting point right here where we're going to play NASA just talking about how long it would take to get to the moon, Mars, and then Jupiter via humans. And they're going to say something key about fuel there. And really, that's just kind of padding the statistics because there's so much more going on. So let's play this right now.
So how long does it take to get from Earth to the Moon, to Mars, or to Jupiter? As with most things in life, the answer is it depends. During the Apollo program, when NASA sent humans to the Moon, those missions took several days to reach the Moon. The fastest of these was Apollo 8, which took just under 3 days to go from Earth orbit to orbit around the Moon. Now, it's possible to save some fuel by flying different kinds of trajectories to the Moon that are shaped in such a way to save fuel, and those trajectories can take more time, potentially weeks or months to reach the Moon, depending on how you do it. Mars is further away, about 50% further away from the Sun than Earth is, and reaching Mars generally takes somewhere between 7 to 10 months, flying a relatively direct route. NASA's Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter mission took about 7.5 months to reach Mars, and NASA's Maven mission took about 10 months to reach Mars. Jupiter is about 5 times further away from the Sun than the Earth is. And so in order to make those missions practical, we have to find ways to reduce the fuel requirements. And the way we do that is by having the spacecraft do some flybys of Earth and or Venus to help shape the spacecraft's trajectory and change the spacecraft's speed without using fuel. And using that sort of approach, it takes between about 5 to 6 years to reach Jupiter. So NASA's Galileo mission, the first mission to Jupiter, took just a little over 6 years, and then NASA's second mission to Jupiter, which is called Juno, took just under 5 years. So to get to the Moon takes several days, to get to Mars takes 7 to 10 months, and getting to Jupiter takes between 5 and 6 years.
All right. So now let's talk about that, because let's say they're telling the truth about unmanned missions and their lengths. All right, I think that's very, very important, because again, when it's so blasé when they talk about just the idea of fuel, as if rocket technology is safe. It's not safe. You just had, just a few days ago, another one of these rockets. And look, again, I know there's some people out there saying he's been sabotaged. I've been following this. They fail all the time. They fail all the time. This isn't new. Go watch any of my other videos over the last 5 years plus on this. It's not new. Rockets are damn dangerous. So now in reality, when we're talking about people and that length of time, it's not like if you're on a rocket ship. All right, remember, the rocket stuff is very early on the Moon. There's no rockety rockets on the way back. There's these little propulsion things, nothing like that. It's only on the way up also. I mean, so many things don't make sense if you can even get there. Right? Think about that. The rockets detach, and then you're just on a free ride. That's what they talk about, using that. I mean, the obstacles around it, and then you have to actually protect the human beings from the different type. Remember I talked about electromagnetic energy, right? Radiation, obviously, different types of radiation. I mean, those astronauts that are about to come home, we're going to get into that next in a moment, are going to be physically banged up. Space is hard. And by the way, I'm going to show you, they're 250 miles in the air. All right? 250 miles. Right? I mean, think about these numbers. They just don't make any sense. Right? Let's show you this right now, because we're going to show you Blue Ghost, because I want to kind of show this stuff as well as I do this. Now, Firefly Blue Ghost, play the video right here. They just landed this probe, supposedly HD footage from the Moon. But again, this is supposedly unmanned footage.
Blue Ghost Riders, the path to the stars is no longer limited to nations alone. Firefly is building the road to the next frontier, one mission and one dream at a time. Tonight, we didn't just reach another mission milestone. Together, we created a moment in history.
So let's just lower this. This is the rebranding. There's Earth off in the distance, supposedly. This is the rebranding of NASA into all these private companies. You know, Blue Origin will be helped with like the William Shatner thing. And it's, if you go and look over the NASA thing, all the SpaceX stuff is still the same, but that's the rebranding. Just like the Space Force thing is just the rebranding of what the Air Force and Black Ops have been doing. So, again, I'm very skeptical even of being able to send something remotely 250,000 miles. Maybe we can do that with the available technology they're talking about and they're showing us. Again, I've seen some of these massive devices that they send out, and I've actually looked at the photographs they take, and I know everybody thinks, oh, everything's Photoshop. That's not true. A lot of them end up getting colored in Photoshop, but a lot of those pictures, bare minimum, don't get me wrong, they've doctored a ton of stuff. Again, I'm not saying I trust everything. I'm not saying I even trust this. But I'm telling people about this new rebranding, okay? So let's move on a little bit, okay? Let's move it forward. As I stated, because again, this is how we do it. You go over to NASA right now. This is on their live tab. There's plenty of video tabs there. But take a look. Like, you want to see right now, I mean, we could go, this is it. This is the International Space Station, apparently, supposedly. This is a shot from them. This is a shot from earlier. What does it hold? Like, I think the last 12 hours as it goes. Now, again, I've seen videos where it appears they may be faking some of this stuff. I don't know. But I'm just saying, it's right here for anybody to pick apart. And I keep seeing the same videos over and over and over and over and over again. Here's one. Here's a space. You can watch the whole spacewalk, 7 hours. Spacewalk 91. There's 92. I know I did one of these recently. So, again, I don't believe everything is CGI. I believe the ISS is up there. But let's talk about that for a minute. How high up is it? So, first of all, Soviets who are kicking our ass, they've only been less than 300 miles. All right, so let's go back here. All right, take a look. They're very well in the thermosphere. Okay, about 50 miles away from the exosphere. Okay, now the Dragon capsule supposedly went 870 miles above the planet. Now that also supposedly went past the Van Allen radiation belts, which is a big point of contention in the Apollo skeptic community. I'll call it that. 870. But look at this. 870, all right, 870 is still, let's see, where is this? We're in the exosphere, but that's it. We're not pushing past it. As far as I know, maybe that is. But we're not even 1,000 miles away. That means you're still 250,000 miles away from the moon if you believe that's the distance. And that's this year. And they're in like the new spacesuits, right? Where are the new spacesuits? Maybe I don't have a picture of them. I can't believe I don't have the spacesuits. We want the spacesuits. So here's the crew. I know, listen, again, I've seen some videos where it appears some of this is not real. Don Pettit is currently on there. Don Pettit's the famous guy that says that we destroyed the technology to go to the moon again. Seen it a million times, guys. Not brand new. I'm just showing you. But what I want to show is this is really about weaponization of space. There's already certain treaties that go on. That's what the ISS is between Russia and the United States. I think Russia, for instance, knows a lot of this is Johnny nonsense and has their own stuff. But, we're just learning about spy satellites from the 70s and the Cold War. And I would encourage people that, are just semi-familiar with the work. Future Strategic Warfare. Dennis Bushnell. That's not a published date of 2011. That is false. It's 2001. It's not 2011. 2001. And it's pre-9/11. And it has laid out the last 25 years spectacularly. Now, because we like to do it live, how high did Blue Origin Shatner mission go? Thumbs it up, subscribe, and share, everybody. So it went 66 miles. Oh, that's lovely. 65.8. That's good. I'm glad they're just rounding up. I'm glad it wasn't 66 on the nose. I want you to hear what Shatner has to say when he gets out of this thing.
Everybody in the world needs to do this. Everybody in the world needs to see it was unbelievable. I mean, the little things of weightlessness, but to see the blue color go whoop by, and now you're staring into blackness. That's the thing. The covering of blue, this sheet, this blanket, this comforter of blue that we have around it. We think, oh, that's blue sky, and then suddenly you shoot through it all of a sudden, as though you whip off a sheet off you when you're asleep, and you're looking into blackness, into black ugliness, and you look down, there's the blue down there, and the black up there, and it's just, there is Mother and Earth and comfort, and is there death? I don't know. Is that death? Is that the way death is? Whoop, and it's gone. Jesus. It was.
Think about that. Think about that. Think about how special our planet is. It is special. See, I'm on board there. It is a bringer of life and abundance. It is a bringer of love and consciousness, of ingenuity, inventiveness, and just a spirit that may be like no other planet we know. Now, I know science fiction's trying to sell you otherwise. But over the years, the UFO topic, the quote-unquote ancient alien topic, all those topics have been ones I have explored thoroughly. And at the end of the day, there is nothing there I've been able to prove. Nothing. And I think about that, and that, I mean, that's 2021. I think he's 90 at that point still. Can't believe Shatner's still kicking it, but he is. 90-year-old man goes up there. He equates it to death. And he talks about that little blue life giver. I mean, it's so profound. You don't have to be a fan of Shatner or Star Trek or anything. Just as on a human level, I want that to soak in for people because I think it's really, really important. Rob Ager, who I talk about a lot here, Correlative Learning, does great movie breakdowns. And when you talk about the modern Hollywood idealized idea of space, yeah, you have Star Wars that makes it like explode, but you had plenty of sci-fi stuff like the Buck Rogers stuff, right? Lost Planet, stuff that was well beyond my generation. They've been talking about it for years and years and years and years and years. But as far as the perception of modern space and travel, nobody did it like Kubrick. 2001: A Space Odyssey, in which he directly worked with NASA in order to get their technology so he could shoot Barry Lyndon. He wanted their camera that could shoot ultra low light shots so he could shoot these candlelit scenes in Barry Lyndon. Really another great film that's about, a sociopathic, social climbing shithead during kind of like that Revolutionary War, kind of Victorian era. So it's a must watch. I love that movie because it's really, you don't ever want to root for the guy, but you end up like at some points either rooting for him or feeling sorry for him. Kubrick's a master of not only delivering a message and making you feel something, be empathetic to a fictional story or a character, but he's also so key in hiding messages And Ager talks about 2001: A Space Odyssey, really at the end of the day, although it's talking about corporate space and it's got the little touch pads. I mean, so much of that is like the real deal. I mean, that's a must-watch movie, and people think it's an overdrawn art film. There's a lot of subliminals, but he says overall, when you're talking about the space travel, he thinks he's pointing out the absurdity of it. You know, because there are sections in the film where you're just in the blackness of space, and all you see is the ship, and there's no music, or very light music. And just think about how dangerous that is. Danger, Will Robinson, danger. Now, who knows? Maybe I've been duped, and the quote-unquote secret space program is, you know, as wacky as some of the grifters out there, and there's plenty of grifters, say, and then we've had the Mars travel and interdimensional and this and that. I've seen no evidence of that. Okay, just want to say that. No evidence of it. I think a lot of the poor people that maybe weren't grifting and, you know, went with those stories, maybe even believed them, were part of mind control programs. So the evidence showed to me. I'm going to leave it there, gang. I got another video that I'm probably going to put up maybe later tonight or early tomorrow morning from Making Sense of the Madness. I did want to just quickly address something really quick. I did that Vegas video. If you haven't seen it, I think it's a pretty good one. It's one of the last guests this week, is like the last guests that my producer booked for the show. So not a topic that I've super delved into. I certainly in the beginning, I'm pretty aware of it. Didn't know this guy, didn't know his research. We just had a conversation. He brought up another individual. I'm not even going to say the guy's name. I guess he goes with the Saudi angle. I never saw any merit in there. I didn't attack the guy. Guy starts posting on the internet, I'm a spook or a moron or blah, blah, blah. And he's posting stuff like he's the only thing that matters, and posting, this other person supposedly stole his work. Red flags all over there. We don't stoop to those levels. That's not how we do things here with the Bermas Brigade. So thumbs it up, subscribe, and share. Once again, can't do it without you. We're out of paid shows. You are my lifeline right now. $5, $10, $15 means the world to me. We also have the PayPal. We also have some crypto addresses down there if you prefer that. Folks, remember, to this guy, it is not about left or right. It is always about right and wrong. I absolutely love you guys, and we will see you all on the flip side.